Two. Hi there, this is Jim the Keys bartender coming to you from Key Largo. I'm here with Papa Joe. Here with Papa Joe once again. He's not physically here. We got a proper safe distance. I think it's a three-quarters of a mile, a half a mile.
Yeah, it's about that.
Half a mile. So, Joe, we're in. I haven't spoke to you since today. Well, I guess it's not really. It's phase 1.5, right? Here in the
Yeah,
Keys.
it's about that.
Phase 1.5, meaning they open. Well, and that happened with everyone in Florida. They opened up the barber shops and stuff like that. I've been waiting to get a haircut, and
thank God they opened up the tattoo parlors.
Oh, did they open up the tattoo parlors?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Well, you got to get your tats done.
Yeah.
You're going to get them. You're going to get them more from eating. Restaurants, I don't even really It is, you are in close proximity the whole time with people, but you're really conscious. These guys are really conscious about the protective gear. If they do, that's the one person they're worried about for the next 2 hours, right? However, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd be worried. Yeah,
well,
right
you
here.
know what I mean. It's like they're wearing protective gear. You're wearing protective gear. They're always usually wearing gloves anyway. And I know it doesn't seem essential, but it is their trade, playing their trade. I'm just saying where it's going to happen, the big spreads, you won't see it's like meat packing centers, restaurants, nightclubs, and shit like that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there are worse things when you think about tattoo parlors.
Yeah, well, there is. Abby was saying how tough it must be to be, someone in their prime, single people that are real active. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Abby and I, we were looking at, we were talking about kids, how tough it is for kids and all that stuff. But, people that, they just discovered that COVID-19's, the virus survived in semen.
Really?
Yeah. They found.
That's not good.
Yeah. So I thought that, they thought if you wore protective gear and all that stuff. But you're not supposed to, you know what I mean, get intimate.
Yeah, no humping when you're sick.
Yeah, well, or, who do you know? Like, I was, Abby mentioned, he goes, oh, it's really tough for these poor people out there, she mentioned their prime and all that stuff. And I had to remind Abby, I said, if I think from her point of view, the way she said it was, if we were younger, that would have been tough for us. And I said, well, you'd also have to change that if we were younger, we weren't together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that commitment to each other is kind of a blockade in the dating scene. You would think, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine you're out dating, maybe someone someone you have known, you're asymptomatic, you have no idea that you're carrying it.
Well, I was just talking about being in a relationship with someone and not out on the dating scene. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm not. Forget about the COVID-19. And I was trying to say, we are in a committed relationship, so it really wouldn't matter what age we're in. Like if we were in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. But that being said, so I kind of reminded her of that. She goes, "Oh yeah, of course." But when we did this thing, every time you see those movies, 13 again, 18, all those movies where they do Freaky Friday, where they do the body swap, older person
right,
swaps with the younger person. If I knew Then what I know now, life would be different. Like if I had the skills I had when I was younger, holy crap, when I was 19, 20 years old, if I had my knowledge
Oh God.
of,
Oh, we'd be holy terrors.
yeah, no, I mean, just the knowledge for, and I know I don't speak for anybody else but myself. So what I'm suggesting is I would have been, um, I would be frank with women. I would just go, hey, listen, this is what I'm looking for, blah, blah, blah. And this internet thing where you have Tinder, but I mean, I still, if I was free, I'd be using it. Maybe not Tinder because I'm in my 50s. You'd probably be using, there's one called Our Time, right? Or
Yeah, then there's also, was it the one for farmers?
oh,
There's Christian Mingle.
yeah, well, farmers' account, if you have like a little garden, does that count? Farmers.com.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe it's how many cows you have, how many chickens. I don't know.
You got a great, like how many acres?
Yeah, there must be a criteria. You must be a checklist. You qualify if you have 10 or more acres, two
What
cows.
if there's if you can get like real tricky with the side, like if you answer, if it's supposed to have a minimum of 10 acres or something like that. If there's a micro acre or a milli acre where you just have a little plot, like 6 by 6, yeah, there's my thing. But fuck that. I mean, farmers.com, I just don't even get it. Like, first of all, the family farm's been dying for years. It's usually big agribusiness right now, so there's not that many farmers. So how can they afford such a janky website? When I'm saying like a robust website that's just going to be millions of people on it, right?
Well, think about the hypocrisy of Christian Mingle.
Well, Christian Mingle, it's not hypocrisy. They're not trying. They're talking about people with their same abiding belief when they're dating. It's that's what they're suggesting.
Yeah.
Maybe and maybe they do, and maybe they practice. Because it's what's it what they call it? I heard it, the holiest of holy hole. So as long as you're like
that's right, you just cut
not
the hole
doing
in the
coitus,
sheet, hold the
you're
sheet
not.
up.
Yeah, you're not going through the vagina. That if it's all oral sex and anal sex and stuff like that, it's no big deal. Because they found that with a lot of these Promise Keeper kids that do the
oh yeah,
that they do a lot of the butt play and stuff like that. I, on the other hand, well, I mean, I've been with a woman who supposedly was really Christian, and all of a sudden she really wanted. She started crying after we had sex, and I'm like, "What's?" I mean, I've never had that reaction before, and it turned out she goes, "Well, I wanted to, keep myself." And I said, "Well, wait a second. Your mother, she had like a kid already, and." I said, "You've done this before."
Yes, but I'm forgiven for that.
You're not a virgin. She goes, "No, but I mean,"
yeah.
and I go, "Well, okay." And it kind of weirded me out and stuff like that.
Oh,
but it didn't stop me from going back.
You can't even keep track of the psychosis with those people. So
no, she wasn't really. She really wasn't Christian because she was on the. I'm not.
But she played
one
on TV.
Oh, she wasn't. Not that she wasn't a nice lady. She's the one that freaked me out when it was my birthday, and she had just went all the town on for birthday gifts, and I'm like, holy crap, no, forget it. Oh, there was no way it was going to compete with that. That's a horrible thing to say. I realize that. And that being said, we're Abby twisted her ankle yesterday, so I had to hook her up with one of her favorite shows. Because she's very active. She likes to be running and doing stuff right now. So she's climbing up the freaking walls, not doing it, not going outside. So I had to hook her up with this 90-day Fiance. We spoke about this before.
Yeah.
And
such a sad show.
It is a sad show in itself, and it's on the Learning Channel, which is funny. And what the fuck do you learn on the Learning Channel? You learn that a lot of people from other countries will do anything to get a K1. Is it a K1 visa? I think it's called a K1 visa, and that's for marriage. So it's this one particular one. There's this guy. He's a wine merchant. He import and exports wine, kind of like George Costanza did, the importer and exporter. And he's got he has a Porsche, and he does have a couple kids, but he has this hot, oh my God, incredibly hot, one of the hottest so far of the women I've seen. She's a Brazilian girl. He's 42 and she's 21, maybe 22. Super hot.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a match made in heaven. She wasn't very little education, but she's beautiful. I mean, beautiful. She was a hostess on a pleasure cruise in Croatia. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
that could be
nice. Well, we can use our imagination.
The kind of hostess, not on a pleasure cruise. Yeah, on a yacht party she was brought to, and that's where the guy met her. So the learning thing is, you're learning all the ways people, and then there's people you look at, and the people aren't that attractive, and the person that's coming isn't that wealthy either, and you think, well, maybe this is love. You know what I mean? Maybe this is love. And every so often someone's from a real, first world country like Germany or Belgium and stuff like that. Not in this case so much. It's, you get Eastern Europe, you get, Brazil, I mean, it looks like this Brazilian girl. She could have, maybe she needs, what I think is that with the accent, if you're not that intelligent and you speak English, you can fall back on the accent and lack of English knowledge. But if you're in Brazil, the girl, got very little schooling, and if speaking Portuguese, which is the native tongue of Brazil, if she tried to meet a guy in the upper middle class or wealthy guy there, people would spot her from a mile away. Her voice,
yeah,
the language. And
not here though.
Not here. You hear the accent. It bumps you up at least easy 20 points on the IQ. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've spoke to people like that. It's funny. You hear a pretty girl with an accent, and you think, wow, very sexy. She knows English. Score a couple points. But like over in Poland, Abby and her family, they would be talking to someone and goes, oh, don't speak to that person. They're an idiot. They're an idiot. And I said, what do you mean an idiot? Like they're crazy? No, they're an idiot. They're not intelligent. And I was thinking, oh, the girl sounded like she was intelligent because she spoke English, but like you really wouldn't know. Just that's the, that's that.
So tell me, what does Abby think of that TV show?
She loves it. She loves it. I mean, Abby came here and she got her citizenship and all that stuff. I think she got it in. No, she was here already. So she wasn't shipped over here as a bride. She met her first husband while she was here. On a work visa. So and she's fine, I mean, people say, hey, you're calling the kettle black. No, it's a subtle difference. She was here anyway. And
yeah,
and she has a lovely daughter, my stepdaughter, so,
but still,
I'm not saying she would have done it, if I lived in another country, but then again, Poland isn't, I've been over Poland. It's not any worse or better than the United States. They have nice restaurants. They have nice hotels. They got nice schools. I don't.
It's a modern Western country.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand why people, are so gung ho to come here. So, I'm not one of those people that automatically think we're the best country in the world. I don't think we're the worst country in the world either. I'm just not. I'm fucking reasonable about it, right?
Well, let's face it. We have an issue that we are better at diversity, despite the fact that when you're here, there's a lot of room for improvement. But in a global sense, we mainstream ethnicities like no other country does. And this is still going to be the country of the greatest opportunity.
Well, there's other countries that are coming along like that. Canada does it. Australia does it.
Yeah, but there's nothing like America. Still, in the eyes of those who don't live here, America does still stand out.
Yeah, just maybe in just sheer size. But England's been doing that for a while. And we're not the only country. But then again, we've been a while for about 50 years.
I would say
50 years, people could call themselves American and be almost of any race, where other countries may have been more difficult. But I'm going to move on. I wanted to cover one thing about Grubhub. The Keys are rare and open, and there's protest in Key West. And they're...
Really?
Yeah. Even though we're opening and we're doing a phase 1 and phase 1.5, you want to call it, because of the beauty industry and tattoo parlors and barbershops opening up, that there's people that want to speed it up and open up those checkpoints to get people down here. So they're protesting in Key West right now. But it's funny because it's Key West. There's people that are infiltrating those protests and counter-protesting, right? There's some people that believe they're going too fast and they want them to go,
right.
They want them to take it slow. They don't want to make sure that they don't open up too quick to the tourists coming in. So, but during the protest, this guy holding flag and there's stuff, and someone holds a sign, "I love," and it has a heart, "to suck cock," and it's stuff like that. And there was other ones like similar to that, and they're inside that group, and people don't realize, they get in the group, when the cameras come up, they want to have that. Not there's anything wrong with it and stuff like that, but it's inside the group that don't necessarily want to have that message across. I like it when you have people. They say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to join this group." They say, "You know what? You're not allowed to be here." So yeah, there's people that I think they did. It was an informal survey, and it was it ran like 40% runs more slowly, 20% open up quickly, and the remainder was going just right. So
those who simply said "don't open quickly" was the clear majority.
Between it's opening up the way it should, and that it was predominant. Now,
yeah.
So obviously, if you went the other way, if you took that big group of people, say it's going just at the right speed, or it could be whatever, the grouping that it's going at the right speed, and we should go slower. You take that group; it's predominant, because obviously, if you can go faster and we're opening up the right thing, if you group that together, they might be the majority too. So. So we're going to see. There's 3 more cases in Key West as of yesterday, and there's not much we could do about it. But there is something I wanted to point out. There's the commercials that are out there right now. You seen we said,
yeah, like what?
Well, there's a lot of them thanking the first responders and the healthcare workers and stuff like that. A lot of which is great. It's great. Some of them are real sincere. Some of them are from like the big industrial providers of equipment to them, like Johnson and Johnson and stuff like that, which they have an ulterior motive. And then you have, the delivery. Oh, the one that I really is, I just. They try to do a feel-good commercial. It's Grubhub. And what they're doing is saying, small restaurants are having a real tough time right now. Small family-owned restaurants. And they're showing them places, and there's an old lady there getting her food takeout, and they show it. And it's Grubhub. And And we're trying to help them out, help them stay open. We're trying to help them stay open. Now, I'm going to point out the fallacy in that we did a show about this before. Now, in March, they Grubhub and some other companies they waived the commission structure, or waived or deferred. That's the thing. Waived or deferred the commission structure. But they didn't. They're not doing, I'll tell you, the company's not doing it for free. They're not delivering for free. Right?
Okay,
Grubhub
so how are they making
is not delivering
money?
for free. They're deferring. They're getting something out of it. What they're saying is if you do sign up with them now, and they provide delivery services, which is a very, what happened is they set up an order entry system online. Well, it's already set up, but they bring it into your restaurant and the orders come in. Now, if you're like a restaurant that doesn't have a POS system, it's not integrated, you have two systems, like orders come in by hand and orders come in from tickets from Grubhub, right? So there'll be like two orders 9:15 in the morning for Grubhub and two orders at 9:20 from the restaurant, right? Itself, and it'll be in there. And you're supposed to, that's that other thing. But what happens you're going to have to, after a year after they defer the commission structure, you're going to have to remain with them at the regular commission structure. And the commission structure runs anywhere from 15 to 30%. 15 to 30%.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, so I'm picking an arbitrary. You order a chicken parm, and it's $20. First of all, Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all those companies, they don't want you to raise your prices for takeout. Let me repeat that. They don't want you to raise your order for takeout. But they do take, when I said 15 to 30%, and it could be more, so they take that. So if it's a $20 chicken parm, that's $3 to $6 out of that from the get-go, and that's where you cover your overhead. You cover your overhead out of the 12.
Yeah, but isn't that about profit margin a restaurant is going to make?
No, it is.
Maybe
the top is 15%. The top for the very best restaurants, it's obviously,
so you sign up
they
with
put
them
it in,
to lose money.
The restaurant industry says 0 to 15%, which people can go with not making money for a while. Now, losing money, you just go out of business, right? That's just losing money is not. And usually right when you open up, you're losing money. But for a decent restaurant, the average is 3 to 5%.
Jeez.
So if you do $100,000, let's say, $100,000, a gross, 150,000 gross, you get from 4,500 to 7,500 profit after everything. That's clear. After salary and all that stuff, I don't have to go into what people don't understand. It's not just the food. You got to pay the wage. You got to pay the rent. You got to pay for the electric bill, the water bill, insurance. Christ, there's tons of other things that I'm missing right there, and there's things they're not even in. Now, 3 to 5%. So they're already taking more percentage than is their percentage. Now, I realize they're not taking all of the profit. They're not taking 15 to 30% of the total gross. It's the price of that meal. And meals do not, for most restaurants, if they have a liquor license, are not a huge moneymaker. If you're making 5% on your meals, you're lucky. What you really make money is on your soft drinks and your mixed drinks and your beer and wine. If you have a bar.
Right.
Okay? And that's what you do. Now, right now, that ain't happening, especially since people aren't eating at counters and things like that. So you get signed up for a year. You got the deferred or waived fees. Now, if they're deferred, because that's where to say the fine print, there's a confusion between whether it's waived or deferred. If it's waived, they're never going to recoup it. It's deferred, they're going to come back with it. Just like they did with car payments, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Chevrolet,
deferred. You still owe it.
3 months, 6 months, they call it deferred, and then they split the difference among the payments further down the line. So you're making the payments. They're not making the first 3 payments for you, or the first 6 payments for you. They're spreading them out. So it's deferred, and it goes back. Originally, the percentage was much lower for these companies. They were like 10, 11%. So to make people think about it, Grubhub makes it seem like they're going to be putting money in the pocket for the restaurants and stuff like that. So if you order that $20, right now, with the deferred and waived commission, they get the $20. They get $20 for the chicken parm. But eventually, when that commission starts coming in, they're losing money, and that's a whole year, and that's when everything comes back. They're just getting a toehold. They're getting a toehold, just like Amazon did.
Yeah.
Amazon and think of all those online merchants and things like that. There's always the people that ordered online, right? There's always there's been a growing number. Let's say it was growing 1%, not 1%. Let's say 5% a year. 5% a year, people that order online. That's pretty slow.
Okay.
Well, with COVID-19, it leaps and bounds. Then that number went up 75%. Right? With so many people ordering online and making a mistake because people order toilet paper and things like that, and they come by with like 1/3 rolls of toilet paper, or where they may have, it looks like they took toilet paper and rolled it onto separate rolls, and you're getting like 1/3 the amount. Oh, there were so many boondoggles out there and stuff like that. So, but Amazon and all these online retailers are getting this, and now the regular retailers, because the people that normally didn't order online, now they're more comfortable because they did it for these last month and a half. Oh, I know I can order my shoes, my underwear, my clothes. There's certain things people don't want to order online, right? And they will be, when they reopen up, there may be a little boost in retail sales, but in the long run, they're going to lose out. They're going to lose out on clothing and all that stuff. There's so many things. And the same thing as these small mom and pop restaurants, when they sign, they're selling they're literally selling their souls to the devil. Grubhub. Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats are the agents of the demise of the small restaurants.
I agree with you completely. And yet, listen to their public relations nonsense that you said on television. I've seen these ads. They want to come in as the superheroes to the American public and to the restaurants, and they're going to kill the restaurants.
Well, they're not. I know that's not their intention. They're not their intention. But when Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub came about and built their business model, it wasn't built in mind. Their business model was not designed on how to keep restaurants healthy and vibrant. Their business model was developed how their business model, Uber Eats and thing, would be vibrant and healthy and growth oriented, which is perfectly makes sense. I'm not suggesting they're evil because, the way in the modern think a vampire, let's say a vampire's made. Think of it. A vampire's made. Most of the time, person doesn't want to be a vampire. They make them into a vampire, right? Well, what does a vampire do? It craves human blood. It doesn't necessarily, its intention is not necessarily in old movies that, hurt people and stuff like that, but they feel bad about it. I got to drink your blood. I'm sorry about it. And sometimes they'll try to drink animals' blood or something like that, or find a substitute. In some of the movies, the vampires go, well, if I can build an artificial one, I'd rather drink artificial blood than real blood. It's like a vegetarian. It's funny things about it. Like, you ever seen True Blood?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think the vampire in this particular case is really feeling bad about what they're doing.
Well, in the long run, it's hard to sustain that business model. But they don't really care because you create something. When you create like this online gig economy, which I have a whole theory on how gig economy works, and it doesn't work for the worker, and it doesn't really work for the competing industry. Like Uber does not work for taxis and stuff, and people say it makes them more competitive. No, it does not make them more competitive because Uber is going to come unless there's some horrible thing happens with Uber and stuff like that, which kind of in the big cities it is with people. You get some people being attacked and stuff like that. What I'm suggesting is someone builds up one of these apps and things like that. They're just looking in it for themselves. That's it. It's a competing industry. Like the phone didn't come along. Phone wasn't developed in order to destroy the telegraph. Right?
Yeah, no, of course not.
The phone came around because, hey, this is great. I can talk to somebody. I can hear their voice. I don't have to read this dots and dash shit, Or airplanes. People inside airplanes because it says, well, I hate blimps. I hate Zeppelins. Well, once again, you have the Hindenburg and shit like that. That did a number on it. When people saw it, that was a stark example, even though planes used to crash all the time. And to this day, they still crash more infrequently. But they never had that time, that picture of the Hindenburg. They didn't show the other 5,000 Zeppelin trips where nothing happened, right? Back then, there were planes crashing left and right. Those ones when they started doing the transatlantic ones after Lindbergh went, those planes. Oh my God! Every 200th plane was going down. So what I'm suggesting is, even though it's just that when you see Grubhub and you're a restaurant and they're coming to your door, it's not like, hey, I'm holding some flowers, I got a gift for you. It's not a gift. It's like it's like someone walking in with COVID-19 and infecting you. Because eventually it could you'll either survive you might survive, but there's a chance it could kill you. Right?
Yeah, I would say that if it's eating that much of your profits, the odds are you're going to be hurting really bad.
I mean, there's a way that could work. There's a way it could work for someone. There is a way, and this is the way they pitch it. The way they pitch it is go, listen, you don't do a lot of to-go orders. You don't do any delivery. You get deliveries. You get to the people that don't have an opportunity to eat at your place. You can get it delivered to people that aren't in your neighborhood and stuff like that. And then they'll like your food and they'll come and say, hey, I like it delivered. What's it like in the restaurant? So you may get more people to come in and you boost your profits by having through the door traffic. But as it turns out, a lot of people that order these things don't tend to go out. They don't tip. They're not big tippers, And another thing we mentioned about the extra percentage, when that food is ordered from those online apps, it's prepared by the cook. So that's the same overhead, whether it's in-house or picked up by someone who ordered directly from the restaurant or by Grubhead. So it's the same cost of preparing it. But getting it together, getting the food together, is another employee. It's either a server, a bartender, or a hostess.
And they're getting no tips, are they?
Nope. And if there's no extra help, like let's say you have a staff that's pretty much done, and then on a busy Saturday night, you just get swamped all the time, then you're going to have to hire somebody. Right?
Yeah,
or
so
bring someone extra in and say, hey, listen, you're going to, what restaurants do, and I realize this, they're saying you do the to-go orders. You're a bartender, do the to-go orders. And they know you do not get tipped. Those drivers, and it's not up, obviously it isn't up to an Uber Eats driver, a Grubhub driver, or a DoorDash driver to tip the person who prepares it. And the people that they deliver it to tip them. And it turns out a lot of these times, a lot of these drivers are under a lot of pressure right? That deliver food, because orders come in, and whether it comes into it depends on how the website's managed. Sometimes, let's say the order comes in at 45 minutes ago, and it tells the people it's going to be there in an hour. Well, the restaurant doesn't know that. The restaurant may make it in an hour, may start making it out, because the online app doesn't know that there's 60 meals in front of it right at the rush. So your food isn't going to be ready for an hour. You ordered it 45 minutes ago. It's not going to be made for an hour, so it's already 15 minutes late before they start making it. And then when it's done making it 15 minutes later, it's already a half hour late. And then the guy who delivers that to it, so your food's going to be an hour late, maybe an hour and a half. And sometimes it could be, if it's a wrong thing, if they screw up the order. If the person screws up the order, they blame the app, even though the app says, hey, listen, this is what you ordered. You should have said something. Well, I wrote it in the notes, and the notes didn't fire through. Either Uber eats it, or Grubhub eats it, or a restaurant eats it. So it's unsustainable, but it's one of those things. The gig economy with this stuff, they come up. Remember all those search engine apps? Remember MySpace? Do you recall MySpace? Well, MySpace was pre-Facebook, right? And that was supposed to be $1 billion, and now it's worth. Does it even exist? I don't know. It may still exist.
I don't even know.
There could be there's America Online. I think that still exists.
Yes, it does.
Okay, America Online. Very small, though, comparatively. Ask Jeeves. That was one. It was a search engine.
Oh, God.
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
Jeeves. They were all started up with an idea like, I'm going to, this is going to be the best shit ever. And you get a valuation, and it's usually with internet companies like Uber, those things, they evaluate themselves well before they start making money. Amazon didn't start making money till recently, the last couple of years, making profits, real profits, and now they're a juggernaut. But I don't know if that's going to be true about these food apps. And it's as goes with the Instacart, stuff like that. Oh, my God. Have you been in a supermarket? Have you seen these people looking at when they look at their phones when they're shopping?
What about it?
Some people build their shopping list on their phones, right?
Okay.
But every online ordering form like Instacart, that's where you get your phone order from. And everyone's doing it. And you look at young people, when you see someone who's like 22, 23, 24 years old, and they got like a full shopping cart, it's not because they have 7 kids. It's they're shopping for somebody.
Right.
And they're sending emails, and they're looking real hard and stuff like that. When I go into a supermarket, if I have to get 12 to 15 things, this supermarket at Publix, unless they change the order of things, right? And there's a unique item, I'm through there in 5 minutes. I am quick. I know what it is. If I go by, I make an opportunity. I sweep by a thing to see if there's a sale on something. I'm in there and out there. These people I was in a supermarket today, and they actually made a standardized the direction of the floor, the aisles.
Right.
They
I noticed that in Publix they put it permanently now in the floor.
Yeah, they put it permanently on there, and you know what? And people are still permanently ignoring those fucking arrows.
Of course.
They're going in. I'm looking at someone. I go like, "You're going to." Well, it doesn't matter if you're walking. If you're walking, if you leave it, this is what I do. You could disagree. But if you're walking, you can move around people. If you're aware. But if you're with a cart, you're blocking the flow. So I would leave my cart up at the head of the aisle and grab the stuff if I have to go the opposite direction. I wouldn't take my cart down there. Oh, I forgot. I'm not going to walk all the way around and do a, big
Yeah, no,
circle trip.
I was there yesterday as well. I did the same thing. You just leave your cart at the front, dip in the aisle real quick, even though you're going the wrong way. Feeling with no one.
And
half the time, you're not even passing anyone.
Get your head out of the ass. Don't move your cart long way across the aisle and try to create a roadblock, which some people do. They're not paying attention. And I'm shopping. Yeah. I'm like, fuck you, And you know what? Yeah, you get fuck you, And it's not the shoppers. The shoppers for Instacart, they're usually pretty good. They know what they're doing. They get up there. Man, I remember I told you I did that thing. I had my own company. I did concierge service, and it sucked because people would ask for Go-Gurt and all this stuff, like unique stuff. Not like Oreos. They'd ask for peanut butter Oreos or something like that, or something low calorie peanut butter Oreos. And you go, well, fuck, they don't have it. You know what I mean? Motherfucker. I want passion fruit Pop-Tarts. There's no passion fruit Pop-Tarts. And then I do the trips to the Whole Food. Now, I used to charge, oh my God. Now, like Instacart. So, just so you know, if anybody who's a listener works for Instacart and all that stuff, this is what I used to do. If I went up to Whole Foods, it's 25% of the order. So a lot of times it was $250 and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I tapped on another $20 on top of it.
If you're shopping at Whole Foods, trust me, you can afford the 25%.
Well, I was ordering. It was anywhere from $80 to $100. And sometimes I get two orders up there, and it'd be a $200 trip, and I'd have to pick something up there. And what I was trying to do is monetize it, and I was trying to do freezer coolers and all that stuff I was using, and trying to make like a $400 trip. I was up there, and it looked like I was going that direction, right? And then the online ordering thing started coming on. I said, fuck it. I'm not competing. I'm not doing this thing for $30. And it was stressful on its own. I don't know how these people do it, and they got to depend on tip. You could do the whole thing and end up making like $8 an hour, $10 an hour. I know some of the people are making a little more and stuff like that, and they do tip. But supposedly some of these people, assholes at Instacart, they waive a $40, $50 tip to get their order picked up right away, but they have 2 to 3 days to change your tip. You believe that?
Oh, well, that's great. Yeah, I don't believe that.
What a dick move that is.
I mean, it's unbelievable, as in, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, that should never happen.
Yeah.
We need 2 to 3 days. Like, you go to a restaurant, get served that it's down at a table, and your waitress comes, and then 2 or 3 days later, you decide, no, I don't want to give that tip.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, listen, I never messed around with anybody's food and stuff like that. But keep on doing that to people and reorder and have them pick up, screw around with them. Screw around with them a couple times. And then when this pandemic's over and there's only the people that are hanging around to do the order, and they did so many of them, they were really good at it, and they start ignoring your orders. See that?
Yeah, you just won't get any service.
You won't get any service. I mean, you'll get shitty service, or your last one in line and stuff like that.
I know someone who does the Publix, where Publix actually has a delivery service themselves.
Oh, Publix does it themselves?
Yes. So they come over, and the person I know that uses this usually tips really well, and there's a direct benefit from that, because the next time you put your order in and they see that name, man, she has ordered food, her list, and it's been delivered within 20 minutes because they know you're going to take care of me.
Oh, wow, 20
so,
minutes.
Yeah.
Well, the more you get out, the more orders you get out, the more money you make.
But
I used to like getting the liquor.
Using these people.
I used to love getting the liquor, because that was a high value, 25. But then again, I did 25%, and then they would tip on it. But now I couldn't. That was untenable. I used to do sometimes. These people, they would go away for the weekend. They I don't know if they had a big J.W. Wentworth. They had a big structured settlement that just came in because they would come in and order like 4 cases of beer, 4 handles of vodka, besides the food and cigarettes and all that stuff, and they'd have like a $350 order. And they said, "Do you want me to pay ahead of time?" I go, "Well, how do I know? I don't know how much it's going to be, right?" So, and then they ordered food out one time, and it was $100, and I charged 25, on that. And they go, I was ordering from the, and I tipped the person that prepared it. I gave him $5. I tipped. Well, I didn't normally pick up from a restaurant, but I did it for these people, and these people used to tip really well, and they had liquor and all that stuff. I made like $150 on the order, so I gave them I threw them $5, which is pretty good for a to-go order. Sometimes $10 and stuff, but it wasn't. That I didn't do that often, and I wouldn't do it because I couldn't. I'd have to. If I built one, I would say, "Oh, that's the tip for the person that prepares it in the restaurant." Well, what do you care about that? Well, I care. I want them to think well of me when I come in. I want them when I come in there, they're going to make $5. And there's people I know when they come in, they order. There's this really pretty hairstylist named Missy. She always tips really well. She has the hair salon at Baker's Cay, and she orders, and she's really generous. And there's other people in the neighborhood when they order, and they're really generous. And there's other people they don't really, but they order. They come and pick up, which I don't really care. But it really means a lot because it's work getting together an order, and sometimes you get something's wrong with it. You're the one that gets the flack for it, not the people in the kitchen. They never hear crap about it. So, okay, Joe, we're going to be back again Thursday, aren't we? It's been over.
Yes, we 45.
Are. Yep. And I can come up with some topics. I wanted to, or you can. But I will come. Well, I will have some things to talk about. If you do have a pet peeve and you'd like to talk about or research anything, I'm not telling you to do that. It's just there. I just don't want to overtalk you all the time. So, I want to thank you.
I will. Well, you're more than welcome. And I'll come up with something, and we'll talk before then.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'll send you some ideas tomorrow.
Okay.
See how it works. And I did a show yesterday. If you want to follow it, it's called "Oral Sex Did Not Cause the COVID-19 Virus." Well, because Pat Robertson said, if you listen to his show, did you hear about his thing?
No, but you just gave me a topic for Thursday.
Pat Robertson. Well, I did it. I did a whole list, 120. He said, let me paraphrase what he said because I did it verbatim. He says, these kids are doing unnatural acts and things like that. They're messing around. They're getting some lady chemicals. And these diseases didn't come around when I was coming up. That's what the exact word said. Because they didn't have do those things back then, right? So I went off for like 8 minutes. 8 minutes, Papa Joe. I had maybe 100 different words and phrases for oral sex. All different types: man, oral sex, female, oral sex, different types of oral sex, and all that stuff. And I did that, and I said, yeah, I don't think that came about in just 10 years. Some of these things they had for years, and it's in stories in the Bible. And,
listen, you can go back into the most ancient cultures and find stone dildos. So, here's the
Kama
problem.
Sutra. The Kama Sutra had all that stuff in it, and that predates.
One day Americans will realize to quit taking their morality from a bunch of virgins reading Bronze Age texts.
Oh wait! First of all, I don't think they're virgins. I think a lot of them are perverts, and they're just playing the thing. So it's better just to say that than, you know what I mean? To say, hey, I know what's going on and stuff like that. So, okay. So I will talk to you on Thursday. We'll be back. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, we're gonna count down. We're gonna thank you for listening and take care. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cue the Q's bartender music. Joe, you can keep on talking. It's playing right now if you want.
Oh, that's awesome. Just pop right over the music.
Yeah, or you can. It's kind of like that bass thing going on. Okay, I'll see you Thursday.
All right, man. We'll talk then.
Talk to you later.